If you're tuning into a podcast about movies and TV shows, just assume there's going to be spoilers, because otherwise all I would say is, hi, welcome back to the Daily Weekly Podcast. I saw the Mario movie recently. It was very good. I do recommend it. That's all. Bye. See you next week. Hello and welcome back to the Daily Weekly Podcast, and here I am on my own again, but don't worry because we've got another episode with a special guest, Ridley, coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. But we hope you enjoyed the little, well, kind of slightly different episode where me and Jake read our old screenplay, if you call it that, from our zombie apocalypse show, which we called The Last of Them. I know we're very original with titles. It used to be called The Walking Marshal, but anyway, if you want to hear more of that, then do check out that episode. And also, thank you very much for supporting us and tuning into our kind of Daily Weekly Podcast third birthday special, because we've been doing this for 3 years, so wow, 3 years. Honestly, we never thought we'd make it past 3 episodes, let alone 3 whole years. So today I'm going to be talking about the new Super Mario's film. Since seeing that film, I can't stop thinking about Mario, which is weird because I didn't plan to see this film, and I kind of saw it on a whim. I was like, yeah, why not? I will go see that, and I'm glad I did. And we all know Peaches is the song of the year. The amount of times I've listened to that now, I've lost count. Let's break it down. So, I'm not really going to call this, well, perhaps it is a review, but I'm just kind of offloading my thoughts onto you. So I saw the movie, I went with my brothers, they're younger than me, they're 14, I'm 22, and I did kind of grow up with Mario. I don't think they really have, like, obviously they know what Mario is and that sort of thing, and they played Mario Kart and all that, but I grew up playing Mario Kart on the Nintendo Wii, which is by far one of the best games ever made, and then even younger, I remember watching reruns of the what was it called? This New Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3. I think the show from the 90s where, like, Bowser was called King Koopa and Princess Peach was called Princess Toadstool. That's what I remember. And then when I was introduced as the characters, their more traditional names, such as Bowser and Princess Peach, I was like, what, who are they? Are they supposed to be the same people? But yeah, that was a good show. Well, I say it was a good show. I haven't seen it in probably about, I don't know, 12 years at least, maybe even it's been even longer than that. And obviously that show aired originally back in the 90s, so I was just, late to that party, but that was good. And the amount of hours we spent playing on Mario Kart Wii, I could still play it now. In fact, a few years ago, when we still had our Wii, we rebought Mario Kart because for whatever reason we lost the original one. It doesn't matter. The game, the graphics, it still holds up. And I never really played that game with online multiplayer. I know you could, and they shut down the official servers, but some fans managed to make their own or something, apparently. But I haven't looked into that. I no longer have a Nintendo Wii. But even just offline playing, split screen or just taking it in turns, playing the game kind of offline was fun enough. And I would still do that to this day. But, oh god, yeah. I don't even own a Nintendo Switch. I want to get one, but they're so expensive. Oh, so I have to save up my pennies and get one of those because I want to play Mario Kart. I've wanted one for years, I just haven't got one. Or even just the regular Mario games as well. I feel like seeing the movie has reignited my passion for Mario. Which I didn't expect because, I was very hesitant to see this movie. I wasn't really looking forward to it. And, Chris Pratt was voicing Mario. I thought, oh god, really? Why couldn't they get the guy who voiced him in the games to voice him in the movie? Well, he did have 2 cameos, but more on that later. Chris Pratt's done everything. He's everywhere right now. He's voicing Garfield later this year. He was the voice of Emmett in the Lego movie. He's in Jurassic World. We don't, Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt, go away. But Chris Pratt, I owe you an apology. Not that you'll ever see it, but you did a good job. I think the whole voice cast of this film was pretty perfect. Some people were complaining that Seth Rogen was lazy by not doing a voice for Donkey Kong, but after seeing it, Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. That was a perfect voice for him. And of course, the iconic laugh was included as well. But yeah, Chris Pratt does the good, typical Mario sound bites like Let's-a Go and Wahoo. But even when he's just in normal conversation, it works pretty well. And Charlie Day as Luigi as well. Jack Black as Bowser is probably my highlight of this film. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. Perfect. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. I could go on about the cast. It was a pretty perfect cast. And it just worked. The plot was simple. It was typical Bowser is attacking the kingdoms. We must stop him. But it was good. I think they played it safe, but the way everything worked and the character development. And I mean, the film isn't long. I think it's only like an hour and 40 minutes or something. Yeah, so it's only an hour and 32 minutes, but it felt a little bit longer than that whilst watching it, which is a good thing because I like longer movies, but it didn't feel like it dragged out. It was paced well. There were so many game references. Obviously, Mario Kart had a bigger focus in the movie than I expected to, especially with the kind of the battle on Rainbow Road, which just sounds epic. Saying that sentence sounds pretty amazing. But it was just a lot of fun, and like there were certain camera angles that made it look like the movie was levels of the game. So I'm glad they did that. They kind of had to. The inclusion of the classic music and everything, just the sound effects, the lore, so many Easter eggs. I feel like I need to see it again, and I'm almost tempted to. But I went with my younger brothers, and I enjoyed it far more than they did. Maybe because I did grow up with a bit more Mario background, but one of them was just thought, and the other one fell asleep. So I guess they didn't enjoy it that much, but I certainly did. And as I mentioned, Jack Black as Bowser, the villain of the story, but his motivations and his reasoning, by the end of it, you feel bad for him. Like, he's doing everything to impress Princess Peach, hoping to marry her. Obviously, he's going the complete wrong way about it, but I don't think he's being bad for the sake of being bad. He thinks. I mean, every villain is the hero of their own story, but he really does think he is the hero here, and he sees Mario as this threat, not to like his power or anything, but for the affections of Princess Peach. He thinks, oh god, who's this guy? He has a better chance than me getting with Peach. So that was kind of funny, and it is aimed at kids, but there are lots of good kind of adult references and things older fans would understand. And of course, the musical number Peaches, which is absolutely everywhere right now. In fact, I saw bits of the song on TikTok before I saw the movie, and then I enjoyed it that much. When I got to the film, I was thinking, any second now they're going to play the song. He's going to do the song, and he did twice. Kind of broken up in halves, but the way they're included is great. He is passionate. You can feel the emotion, and Jack Black singing the song as Bowser, so doing the voice and then singing in that voice. It's Oscar worthy, and apparently is eligible for it to be nominated for an Oscar. So let's put it up there for Oscar selection and Oscars next year. Best original song or whatever the category will be. Peaches by Jack Black. That would be history because it's everywhere. Everyone's loving it. It's not a long song, like a minute and a half or something, but it's just so perfect. Endless hours of repeat, and it doesn't get old. So hopefully in a sequel, if Bowser gets out of his cage, then I hope he writes more songs. The film wasn't a musical, although there were lots of inclusions of other iconic songs, such as, was it Take On Me? Holding Out for a Hero. Although, as iconic as that song was, and they used it in kind of Mario's training montage, I think they used it all wrong. I suppose it's a bit of a cliche to use it for the final battle where Mario must rescue Peach, but that would have been so much better. And now they've used it once, they can't really use the song again in future sequels because it just wouldn't really have the same effect. So I'm a little disappointed by the use of that song. It's fun that it's in there, but it could have been used better in my opinion. Mario's original voice actor Charles Martinet has cameos as two separate characters, just short roles. He plays Giuseppe in the pizza parlor, who is, he's an old man, but he sounds like Mario. He does the jumps and everything. He's playing this retro arcade game. I think it was Jumpman. I can't quite remember, which we all know is kind of the real origins of Mario, essentially. And then he also plays Mario's father, which again is pretty perfect in my opinion. So he only had a small role, but it was good that he was in there. I think it would have been a disservice he wasn't included at all. So it was nice that he had a part to play. God, I feel like my thoughts are disjointed over here, so apologies for that. This is just me unloading everything. Well, it's still fresh in my memory. Yeah, it's a good film. I liked it so much more than I thought I would. And, I mean, I think it's already the highest, or one of the fastest grossing box office animated films in a while, beating something else. I can't quite remember, but it's doing really well. So, of course, they're going to make sequels. Who knows how long they're going to be? 2 to 3 years, probably. And we got, with the end credits scene, we had the teaser of the Yoshi egg cracking, because he wasn't in this film, apart from that. Although you did see kind of more of his species briefly in a scene running around in the background, so that's pretty nice. It was still there in a way. Although, the real world knows of, well, all of these creatures and Bowser, because the final battle took place in Brooklyn, and it's a kids' film. It's animated. I don't think they're going to address it going further, because especially where Mario and Luigi move to the Mushroom Kingdom at the end, it's not like, I don't think the world fears this. They're just going to forget it ever happened, which is fine, because they don't need to overlap much more than they did. I was surprised the final battle took place in the real world, but it's cool. And as I spoke about earlier, how Mario Kart had a bigger role to play in this film than I initially expected. I know like Universal and Illumination do short films, like little short clips that they've done for like Despicable Me and Minions, etc. I hope they do a little short for like just a Mario Kart with the characters getting back together just to do a fun race, make it a 5-10 minute short. But I don't think Mario Kart needs a movie. I mean, maybe they will, like as a spin-off film perhaps, but it works well being included into the main plot, like the way they did it, how using, it was a shortcut to beat Bowser, but yeah, and how the race with the players attacking each other and the blue shell, and so that worked well in that regard. But yeah, I don't think it would need its own movie. But perhaps, Mario was very much the main character in this film. Luigi played a side role, but that's kind of almost how it's always been anyway. Like, yes, it's the Super Mario Brothers, they're together, but Mario is still the star of the show. So perhaps in a sequel, maybe the roles could be reversed slightly, so where Luigi gets a more of a starring role. Maybe it takes on some notes from the Haunted Mansion storylines and things where, we can have Luigi versus King Boo as the main villain, for example. And he did make a cameo at Bowser's wedding with some other characters as well, which was fun to see. And he looked pretty much exactly like he does in the games. I mean, he's a cartoon CGI ghost, so I don't think it's hard to replicate him. But in terms of the animation style in general, it was, as we saw in the trailers, it was based off the original, well, the style in the games, but also added some finer details like the denim of the overalls, for example, and it worked fine. It did bother me at first, but it didn't in the movie, so that's fine. They found a style. It's not like it's going to get dated or anything, because we all know what these characters look like in a certain way. Stick with that. Little changes and tweaks here and there are fine, but the overall look, they've got it pretty much nailed down. So if you're worried about that, don't be. But as I said, this isn't really a review, it's just kind of my thoughts on the Mario movie. I do recommend it, so if you haven't seen it yet, do check it out. And I can't wait to watch it again when it releases on streaming, and I'm really looking forward to sequels. Obviously, Yoshi is going to play a part from that Easter egg. Oh, literally an egg, and it was released around Easter time, so I guess it works. And the end credits scene, but yeah, it's going to be good. I wonder who the villain will be. As I said, could it be King Boo? Could it be Bowser again? Bowser Jr. perhaps? Introduce some of these characters. I think that's what they're going to do. They wanted to play it safe, but I think going forward, it's just going to world build now. And there's going to be so many more characters involved in the sequels, so that would be very good as well. But onto some other Mario stuff, kind of going back to what I briefly started talking about near the beginning, how my love for Mario has been reignited. And, just last night I was rewatching gameplay of the Mario Kart on the Wii. It's like bringing back the memories, and I played a little bit Mario Kart Tour on my phone, and it's good, but it's just not the same as playing on a console. So that's why I really want to get Nintendo Switch, just to play Mario Kart. I mean, that's my main goal, but then obviously the other Mario games as well will be pretty fun, and just other things in general. But seems a little crazy, doesn't it, buying a console for one game? But I guess it'll open the doors to more in the future. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of lost for words. I'm in awe, starstruck by Mario. So Chris Pratt did a great job as Mario, and I guess he's going to do a pretty good job as Garfield as well. So maybe we should stop worrying and just let the man continue to be everywhere, because let's be honest, he's not going to stop, is he? So sure, some things he does are better than others, but this was one of the better ones. So yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, on to some other things that I've watched recently. And I watched another film that was all over TikTok because of its just meme-worthy content, and that was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. The film when Nicolas Cage stars as Nicolas Cage about Nicolas Cage. So he's playing a fictionalized version of himself. He's kind of like a dried up, washed up film star who's running out of options here. Yeah, he needs to find something good. And then he gets invited over to this, kind of billionaire in a Spanish island, I think it was Mallorca, paid by Pedro Pascal, who actually wants him there to star in his film that he's written for him. And all sorts of hijinks happen, and they become pretty good friends. And there were some twists in there that I didn't expect. So I'm not going to spoil this one too much. I probably should have spoiled warning for the Mario movie there. But if you're tuning into a podcast about movies and TV shows, just assume there's going to be spoilers. Because otherwise, all I would say is, hi, welcome back to the Daily Beauty Podcast. I saw the Mario movie recently. It was very good. I do recommend it. That's all. Bye. See you next week. So I wouldn't really have much to say if I didn't talk about something that happened in it, right? Plus, it's been out for a little while now, so hopefully you have all seen these things. But yeah, wow. I don't think Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is going to get a sequel, but I would love one. Just to see Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal doing something else. Put them somewhere crazy. Because the way they bounced off each other in the film was unbelievable. I mean, Pedro Pascal is another actor who is currently everywhere, who's getting a lot of love, and Nicolas Cage is an actor who never stops working. Even if he's hasn't been in such a high-profile film that you might have seen, look back on his filmography on Wikipedia, and he's got multiple projects coming out like every year. The guy just doesn't stop. So good for him. Yeah, they joke about that in the film where he's doing something that he's enjoying, and then he's working. Yeah, so that was really fun. It was really good. And if you want to see a kind of more comprehensive review of that, then do check out my friend Ridley's spoiler-free reviews. So if you don't want to, I haven't talked about too much of the spoilers of Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, but if you do want to see more about that, more of kind of an in-depth from not like a film critique or anything, but a real film lover, someone who's really passionate about what goes on the screen and what goes behind the screen and everything that plays into it, the casting, how everything works, lighting, sound, someone who really looks at it from a more complex level, then do check out Film is Ridley on Instagram for spoiler-free reviews from this movie and some other movies as well. Okay, so let's move on to some of the latest movie entertainment news from the world of entertainment. And I just want to quickly mention that, sadly, I still have not seen John Wick 4, so I think I will have to go by myself to see that one, but that's okay. I've talked about it. I still haven't took the plunge yet of going to the cinema by myself, but I think I'm just going to have to do it. Otherwise, I'll miss my chance. I'll be, damn, I didn't see it. Because I watched all three, I was hoping to see it, and then life gets in the way, so I haven't been able to see it just yet. And then in about 6 months' time, when I've finally seen it and no one's talking about the film, I'll give you my thoughts on it, so stay tuned for that. But now let's move on to some more recent entertainment news. So I guess I mean recent in a broader recent, like the last month or two. So, I mean, hopefully not that old, otherwise what's the point of talking about it? But let's talk about Disney and their live-action remakes, because they're going full steam ahead with these, because obviously they're doing a remake of Moana, which isn't even 10 years old yet, but Dwayne Johnson is returning. Obviously, he's going to be in it. I think he's producing it as well. That wouldn't surprise me. So he's really passionate about this, and they're doing it. So I expect to see that coming soon in the next couple of years. Disney are also doing a live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, and there's been some slight not concerns, but critiques about the casting choices they've made so far. So, who knows? I mean, they probably won't do anything, because they did, when the casting for the new Little Mermaid film got a lot of backlash for no reason when the new Little Mermaid movie got, criticised for changing source material and changing characters, they didn't change that. They stuck to their guns. They're probably going to do the same with Lilo and Stitch, because there's a lot that goes into casting actors, and there's contracts, and you can't, by the time us the public, find out about these casting choices, contracts have been set in stone long ago. So it's not like they can suddenly, oh yeah, somebody on Twitter doesn't like you, so we're going to get rid of you. Especially where it's got no good grounds. Like if there's controversial behaviour, then there might be some sort of dismissal there and replacements and things, but just because somebody doesn't like you for oh yeah, I don't like you, I don't know why, but I don't. They're not going to get rid of anyone for that. So that's happening as well. So the Big Bang Theory spin-off Young Sheldon, there's rumours that it's nearing its end. It's wrapping up the storylines. The actors are getting older. What are they going to do next? Well, apparently some higher-ups want more spin-offs from the Big Bang universe. We don't know if it's going to be more young characters or something more set in the present day, or maybe focus on a side character like Stuart or Bert, for example. That would be interesting. I can see it already now. Those two characters didn't interact much in the show. I don't think they maybe ever. But it would be like, right, those two, for whatever reason, start living together, and there's all sort of comedy hijinks from the two, self-professed losers. That seems like a TV show that they would probably do. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but it seems like they would do it. And so there is that as well. If you're a Star Wars fan, you already know about all the big news that came out of this year's Star Wars celebration. But wow, there's a lot of Star Wars content coming soon. But The Mandalorian is going to get a movie, so that will kind of wrap up some storylines. I don't know if they continue with the show. I can't quite remember. We got some more news on the Ahsoka TV show. Lars Mikkelsen is playing the live-action version of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which many fans had hoped for because he voiced him in the animated Rebels show, so there's that as well. No news on an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2, but Ewan McGregor really wants one, so if that wasn't announced this year, maybe they'll announce it next year. They've got so many projects, so many new movies, Daisy Ridley's coming back as Rey, there's all sorts going on, so they want to save something for next year, because the next Star Wars celebration is happening in Japan. No, not next year, year after, I think. I think they're skipping a year, I think. I read that somewhere. But the next one's going to be in Japan, so maybe they want to save something then, There's no point announcing all these 50 projects only to cancel them and rechange them, and that's something Marvel have done themselves. Whereas instead of announcing the next 5 years ahead, they don't want to keep doing that because things change. They might have to change their strategy, they might have to change their plan, so that could happen as well. But if you're a fan, there's a lot to look forward to. And some big Harry Potter news. After rumours of making a new movie, whether it's based on the Cursed Child or not, or getting the original actors back for more, well, Warner Brothers are making a Harry Potter TV show where roughly each season will adapt one of the books so they can really dive into more details, because the movies did skip over some things, and obviously J.K. Rowling is working on the TV show, so that's also faced some criticism as well. But there's going to be a new cast. It's going to be Harry Potter for a new generation. I think that's fine. Well, it's been just over 10 years since the last movie came out, and it feels like it was longer ago than that. But TV is the way forward for something like that, because there's so many more options, and TV shows aren't like they used to be, especially with big companies getting involved. There's so much money going into it now. They're almost movie quality, spread out, which is what some things deserve. Some properties like Harry Potter, for example, where you can really go into more details, explore new characters and that sort of thing, really tell a story instead of having to, like a 6-episode season with an hour episode is much better than 1 hour and a half, 2-hour film. So there are pros and cons, but I think it's going to be for the better, honestly. Maybe, it wouldn't surprise me if they get the original actors back in some sort of cameo role, playing different characters. That would be cool. But yeah, there's just so much going on. In fact, I only glossed over the briefest of brief notes here, but if you're a fan of anything right now, it's a good time to be alive, because there's a lot coming out. There is a lot to look forward to. Let's round off this episode with a installment of the Not Yet Titled News. Okay, so I found a news story, and just the title alone is just, the irony. Here we go. Cornwall man accidentally buys 60 pairs of reading glasses after misreading the order. Here come all the Specsavers jokes. I should have gone to Specsavers. Well, he should have. In fact, does it tell me where he ordered the glasses from? Let's take a read. So, a man accidentally purchased 60 pairs of reading glasses after misreading the number he was buying online. The picture of Tom Arnold from Perranporth in Cornwall was shared by thousands on social media after his son Chris posted about the blunder. Oh god, yeah. So there he is, looking on his phone, looking a bit perplexed. Obviously, this is a staged photo because the boxes of glasses are all next to him there. Chris said, "When the packaging arrived, my dad was complaining about the amount of packaging being used for one pack of reading glasses. Then he opened it up and it was full to the brim, 60 pairs. He thought he was buying 12 pairs, some for him and my mum as they both need them and they often lose them. But it looks like he clicked on 12 packs of 5. Chris says he and his father have found the experience hilarious as it's been discussed on radio in America and in a Dutch newspaper, and Tom has managed to get a refund, but he's keeping a few packs just in case they go missing." Oh, that's a very short story, but yeah. Man who needs glasses orders glasses but misreads title and buys more glasses than he needs. It writes itself. I suppose that's pretty much sums that one up. It's a little underwhelming now that I read it, but it's just funny in the title. Man buys reading glasses after misreading the order, 60 pairs. Like, should have gone to Specsavers. In fact, Specsavers are quite clever with their advertising and adverts on TV and things, so it wouldn't surprise me if they got this guy or an actor to play him doing the same sort of thing, and then his son would turn to the camera and say, "Should have gone to Specsavers." It's like almost like a mic drop moment. Oh dear. There we go. Short and sweet, but hey, it was very funny, and it was nice that he could return and refund. Well, at least he got a refund and he could keep a few of them. So there we go. That pretty much concludes this week's story on the Not Yet Titled News and this episode of the Daily Weekly Podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. If you're listening on Spotify, watching the video on Spotify, because hey, we got video on Spotify. Woo! Or if you're listening to the audio on Amazon Music, that's nice. Hopefully you claimed our 3-month free trial of Amazon Music Unlimited. If not, head over to our Instagram page. We can get, as I said, 3 months free of Amazon Music Unlimited. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. And if you are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. That's where our home is. So it's good to see you over here. But hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that as well. It really does mean a lot. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now. And if you enjoyed watching this video, then don't forget to check out the other videos on our channel. And hey, if you want something a bit different, check out our other YouTube channels as well. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.